show you today how to use the Wilton Molds. There, I believe, is 4 of these out there, and I have 2 of them. This one is for a cherry blossom cake. Comes along with, you can make the branches and the flowers, the leaves. And it also comes with the vines of the flower vine and the leaf vine. This other one, I don't know, there's a pearl thing here, another border, some flowers and hearts, which I'm totally into, and different random designs. And these work really well with appliques. If you're going to just stick it on the side of a cake, it's not 3D, like if you were to mold one by hand and have it really pop out. But these do the trick if you're just going to put it on the side of a cake or on top of it or whatever. So I rolled out a few pieces of gum paste because I wanted to show you how this works. And we're going to start first with the leaf molds. And this is made out of silicone, and I would prefer to hand wash it rather than dishwash it. But I think you can use it in the dishwasher. I went ahead and took this gum paste, colored it green. How I achieved this color green, which I just freaking love it, it's juniper green and leaf green mixed together. So it's light and kind of like juniper is like a really dreary color. It's ugly. But when you put it with the leaf green, you get this really pretty thing that looks like it's real. It's a natural color for a flower, leaf, a calyx, or any of that stuff. So I went ahead and before I started doing this, I rolled this out. I dusted the mold ahead of time with a little bit of cornstarch. I have a problem with ants lately, so I'm not using the powdered sugar so much. You could go over this, you just keep pressing, okay, and you want to make it very level. You don't want it sticking out anywhere because then it's going to defeat the purpose of using this. You might as well sculpt it by hand. But I'm trying to get it pushed in, and I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but make sure I can see the silhouette of the leaves underneath, so that way when you pull it out it's going to maintain the shape. And this one was probably a little too thick going in, but I'm not even going to sweat it. Just for demonstration purposes, it's not going on a cake. And if you do pull it out and there's too many rough edges, you can go ahead and snip them off. You can adjust it with a blade, or what my favorite tool in the world are these little manicure scissors I got specifically for gum paste. I don't use them at all for anything else. So I'm just making sure this is here. I'm pretty sure you could take a blade and just go over the top of it to even it out and smooth it. I've never had good luck with that. It always just rips into it and I don't have a good time. So I'm going to leave it like this for now, and I'm going to do this on purpose because I'm going to go back and show you how to clean it up. So from here I'm going to take it and just pop it right out. See how easy that comes out? And here I have a green vine. Now I could take a not toothbrush, I want to talk about paintbrush or any tool you have, and anything, I don't know if you could really see it clearly, but here's an edge sticking out. This one's pretty significant, so what I'm going to go in and do is just take my little manicure scissors and trim that off. And then when I'm done, I can go through and pat it down with my finger to smooth it out. Okay, you want to make sure it's pretty good and it's close to what the mold is trying to make it be. So here I'm just going to go through, and they all look pretty good so far. It might be a little bit thick on the back. I don't care because nobody's going to see it. This I would recommend doing out of fondant, because if you're going to use it as a border on a cake, it would be awesome. It would be great. If you do gum paste, it's going to harden, and you're not going to be able to really slice through it too well. So if you're covering a cake, then yes, use fondant. If you're going to make this into, say, like I used this when I did Rapunzel's cake, and I hung it this way and just put like a little eyelid in there before it had time to dry, and that way I was able to string it on a thing with 2 rocks and have it like the ivy when you walk into her house. So that's this, okay? That's this one. So let me put this off to the side, and I will show you the flower one. Okay, this one's really pretty too. You just roll it out like a long snake, and a little goes a long way with this stuff because you are pressing it in here, and any excess that you have, you're going to want to cut it off anyway. So start little, If you find you don't have enough in one spot, just go ahead and take it off another spot and add to it. Because you're not going to see it, it's the back. So it doesn't make a big difference at all. But you just want to go in and smash it, trying to keep the edges as clean as you possibly can, so that way it's less trimming afterwards. You just go through and push it all in there. And again, put some powdered sugar, cornstarch in before you start pressing. It'll make it a lot easier for when the time comes for you to pull it out. It'll just fall right out. You can see it's lifting already. So let me try to start over here. Oops, look at that. See? It's just easy. I love this thing. And instead of trying to hand sculpt it, which I've done before, it's such a pain in the butt and it takes so long to do. And then when it's all said and done and all these kids are just walking around eating your masterpiece that you've worked endless hours on, it just kills you. If you're lucky enough to deliver cakes to people that you're not going to watch them eat it and devour it and cut into it, then no problem. But if you happen to be attending the event that you made the cake for and you see all that going on, you're going to end up crying before the night's over, I guarantee it. Okay, so here's the flower one. Again, the black looks really rough. I even got some green in there, and it's not a big deal. But when you turn it over, you're going to have a really pretty flower thing. It's like a border, an edging. And you can always do this in any color you want, and you can even go through with your dusts and your highlights and whatever and bring out the insides a little bit and look real pretty. And that would set beautifully on the side of a cake or just as any kind of a decoration, or even if you're going to use it to separate the tiers and use it as a border on it. It's wonderful. Okay, now lastly, let's go to the blue one, and I'm still going to use orange again. We're going to do the pearl. I've looked everywhere for these pearl impressions here and molds, and they're so expensive, and I'm like, I don't have the heart to spend money on something that people are just going to run around and eat. So this one was a budget. I mean, I think it was, after using the coupon, the half-off coupon or whatever, it was probably like $6, which that's not going to break anybody's bank, and you can always do it. You see, this right here, how I'm doing it, is perfect. You don't want all the edges and the ridges. You want it to be as smooth as possible on the top. Even if you can go through and just kind of rough it off here and just take the excess off, that would be even better, because then it's less cleanup when you're done. And see, I ran out down here, so I'm just going to take some off and just add to it. Nobody's going to see the back. I used to do the pearls where I'd roll each ball individually in white, and then I would take needle and thread and string each one and go over it with pearl dust, and it actually looks really beautiful when you do it that way. If you're going to string it on the side of a cake or something that you really want that 3D effect. But if you're using it as a border, or it's just going to be on there and 2D is going to be just fine, this works well. And look how much time it saves instead of rolling by hand each piece. This works really, really good. Okay, so I think that's okay for now. So let's just pop this out and see what happened. And again, the back looks pretty rough. Nobody's going to see it. They're just going to see the front. Okay? Now anything in here you can go through with any tool you have handy, any kind of a smoothing tool, and just make sure you make the grooves here pretty distinct and take off any rough edges. And just like that, you have a pearl border. And what you would do is, if you put on the cake, or you want to put on anything, you would just do a bunch of these, and then when you get to the end, you dab a little gum glue or water there and just stick the next strand on there, and it could be continuous, however long you want it. So there's 3 different things that we got off these mats, and I really like them. They're a lot of fun to play around with, and if you want to keep them around for a long time, use gum paste, because they will harden and get super hard to where you could practically bounce them off the counter. But if you're going to cut into it with the cake and use it on a cake that people are going to be eating, definitely stick to fondant, okay? So if you have any comments or questions or anything, please feel free to call me. Comment down below, and I look forward to hearing from you. Take care.